Prepositions in Irish. What's a preposition? It's any of these little words that give us an idea of the location of something. They're all in green on the screen here: on, under, in, and to. In this lesson, we're specifically going to look at what happens in Irish when we have a preposition followed by the word the. What happens to the next word coming after that? We say that the word coming after the definite article, after the word the, is in the dative case, an tishil tuarach. We can divide the prepositions into three groups. In the first group, we have eg, as, hig, fui, o, riv, har, tri, and le. In the second group, we just have two, de and du, of and from. And in the third group, there's only one, and that's I, which means in. Let's look at the first group now. So atta is egg on the is on. We can see that some of these change. So from the becomes own, under the becomes fuin, with the becomes lesh on, and through the becomes tríd on. The effect on the following word depends which dialect of Irish we're listening to. In Connacht and in Munster, after a preposition and the definite article, there is eclipsis. Tá sé an mus, he is on the bus. Chuame hig an geol I went to the concert. Tá me caint leis an bhar, I'm talking with the man. Tá sí na seasamh ag an ngata, she is standing at the gate. Déala sé an brísun, he escaped from the prison. In the Ulster dialect, however, we have the other sound change. Instead of having eclipses, lenition happens in this case. Instead of saying tá sé an mus, as we would in Connacht and Munster, we hear tá sé an wus, he is on the bus. Chuame hig an cheol I went to the concert. Tá me caint leis an air. Tá sí na seasamh ag an gheata. Téim ag snáb an mhórt. Déala sé an phríosún. There's exceptions to this, however. Any word beginning with D, N, T, or L, we won't have the eclipses in Munster and Connacht or lenition in Ulster. There'll be no sound change at all. Who is at the door? Cé tá ag an nuras. Tá slide on an níán. The infant has a cold. Tá an cut an laba. The cat is on the bed. Tháinig sé amach as an teach. He came out of the house. And we also have to consider, finally, words beginning with the letter S. So if the word is masculine, there's no change. Curas an solas. Tá sé ag an sépéal. He's at the church. Riv an saora, before the summer. However, if the next word beginning with S is feminine, we get a T. Tá me ag caint leis an tanvan. I'm talking with the old woman. Tá sé éasca an túl. He's easy on the eye. And finally, words which begin with a vowel, there's no change at all. Tháinig sé bhaile ónifig. He came home from the office. Tá sé ag caint leis an ara. He's speaking with the minister. Tá sé ag an hospital. He is at the hospital. Let's move on now to group 2. So we only have two prepositions to consider here. De and du. Of the and to the. And these make new words. Den and dun. There's no difference as to what happens after den and dun between the dialects. In all three main dialects, we will get lenition. Tugann sé airgid don bhuachal. He gives money to the boy. Tugan milseán don chalín. I give sweets to the girl. Tugann sé airgid don air. He gives money to the man. Hit she jinyata. She fell from the gate. Again, we have to consider words which begin with D, N, T, and L. And in this instance, again, we won't have any sound change. There's no lenition. Seo airgid don dochtar. Here is money for the doctor. Seo brontanus don níán. Here is a present for the infant. Hit she din laba. She fell from the bed. Bia a want din thala. To take food from the ground. We have to consider words beginning with S again. Words that are masculine, no change. Din shoppa. Don shepel. Don saura. Don tanvan. To the old woman. Den tachten. Of the week. Don tool. For the eye. Words beginning with a vowel, no change. Den ifik. Of the office. Don ara. To the minister. Don ashtor. To the actor. And we're now down to the very last preposition, which is the word I. I meaning in. This is kind of unusual because we don't say it on, we get an entirely new word for in the, and that word is sa or san before a word beginning with a vowel. What happens next? Well, this triggers lenition as well. Tá Mary sa bhaile, tá Sean sa chór, tá siad sa chóirdean, tá siad sa rank. They're in France. Don't forget the countries, many countries in Irish, most of them in fact, they have the word the before them. So they are in the France is what you're really saying there. Tá siad sa rank. In some dialects, in Connemara for example, you'll hear eclipses instead of an lenition. So you will also hear Somalia, Sangorji. If the word begins with D, N, T, or L, there's no change, no sound change at all. Cétá sa teach, who is in the house? Well, tú fós laba, are you still in the bed? And words beginning with S, if they're masculine, as always, no change. Sa siopa, in the shop. Sa shépel, in the church. Sa saora, in the summer. If it's a feminine word like antin, China, then we have a T before the word. Satin, in China. Sa tapon, in Japan. Sa tachten, in the week. Words beginning with a vowel, sa becomes san, sanific, sanospidel, sanosh. Watch out for a word beginning with F, like fariga, because if we put a séimhiú on an F, it becomes silent. So it's like having a word beginning with a vowel, really, and we say sanariga, in the sea. Finally, the very last thing we need to consider is what happens when we have a preposition followed by na, na being the word for the in the plural, like na múntóirí, the teachers, na póistí, the children. This is quite simple. Nothing happens. Thug sí airgid do na múntóirí. She gave money to the teachers. Tá milseán ag na póistí. The children have sweets. We do have to consider if the plural word begins with a vowel. It would be kind of hard to say leis na imróirí, and we get a little H, soft H sound here. Tá an banisteoir ag caint leis na himróirí. The manager is speaking with the players. And let's also consider the word in the. Na stát are the states. So they are living in the states. Sa, in the, and na becomes sna. Tá sin na gcónaí sna stát. Now we've covered quite a lot there. So you might have to watch this a couple of times. The main point is to kind of get a little bit familiar with it, decide whether you use the Connacht Munster system or are you more familiar with Ulster and lenition, use a séimhiú. And just watch out for this when you're reading and when you're listening to Irish. It will come in your ear in no time at all.